Good morning, friends. Thank you for joining me. Today we are reading a poem written by William Shakespeare. It is a kind of sonnet. It is Sonnet 30 written by William Shakespeare. It is known as When to the Sessions. The title is not given by the poet, but the first line gives the title to the poem When to the Sessions, written by William Shakespeare. It is Sonnet 30. In total, William Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets, and out of these sonnets, first 126 sonnets are addressed to a fair youth, an unknown friend of the poet, and rest of the sonnets are addressed to a dark lady about whom we do not know anything. Before I start the poem, we should know the brief introduction. We should have the brief introduction of the poet and the poem as well. So, William Shakespeare was born on April 26, 1564 and died on April 23rd, 1616. He was an English playwright, poet, and actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and world's greatest dramatist. He is often called England's national poet and the Bard of Avon. His extant works consist of some 39 plays, 154 sonnets, and 2 long narrative poems. His plays have been translated into many major living languages and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. They also continue to be studied and reinterpreted. So, overall, we came to know that William Shakespeare is one of the greatest poet and dramatist in the history of English literature, and he is known as the national poet of England. Bard of Avon is also his nickname that is given by the people of England. This poem is a kind of sonnet, so it is sonnet number 30 written by William Shakespeare. In total, William Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets, and this is sonnet 30. It was published in the quarto in 1609. It is also the part of the fair youth portion of the Shakespearean sonnet, as I have already mentioned, that first 126 sonnets of the poet are addressed to one of his unknown friends, addressed as fair youth. All these 126 sonnets are addressed to this fair youth, an unknown friend of the poet, and rest of the sonnets are addressed to a dark lady. So this sonnet is one of those sonnets which are addressed to the fair youth. While it is not known exactly when sonnet 30 was written, most scholars agree that it was written between 1595 and 1600. It is written in Shakespearean form, comprising 14 lines of iambic pentameter divided into 3 quatrains and a couplet. As in the previous video composed on the types of sonnet, we have already discussed about the different kinds of sonnet. So this kind of sonnet is a Shakespearean or English sonnet. It has 14 lines written in iambic pentameter, and these 14 lines are divided into 3 quatrains and a couplet at the end. So now let us know what is written and what is this sonnet about. So before I explain the sonnet line by line, we should know the brief summary of the poem. The poet is now in this sonnet thinking about the past times that he has gone through and the things which now are being missed by the poet, and he is lamenting over those moments, over that time. So let us know what is there in the poem. When I sit alone in the silence and remember the past, I get depressed about all the things I don't have that I once strived for, and I add to old griefs new tears for all the valuable time I have wasted. So now the poet is worrying about, now he is very sad over the misuse of his pastime, over the time, in the way in which he wanted to use that time, he couldn't use. That is why he is grieving over that period of time. He thinks that he has wasted that time, and now he is very much unhappy, very much sad or sorrowful over his this state of condition in which he couldn't utilize his time. Then can I drown my eyes, which are not usually wet from crying in tears for precious friends who are dead, and weep again for hearts in loves and that are long since over, and mourn about the loss of many things I will never see again. Now the poet is asking, he is saying that he generally doesn't weep, but he is asking for the permission to cry over the death of his precious friends, and he thinks that he wants to weep again over the past sorrows, over the past things which he will never see again. So he is asking for the permission to weep or to grieve over these past sorrows. Then can I grieve about grievances I had let go of, and sadly recount each woe that I had already cried about in the past. In the next lines, the poet says that the sorrows for which I cried in my past, can I cry once again? Can I be sorrowful once again for all these sad moments in his life which have passed away? As if I hadn't suffered over these things already. And he is thinking that he wants to weep in a new way, in a fresh way, as if he had not suffered these sorrows in the past days. But if I think about you, my dear friend, while I am doing all this, I get back everything I had lost, and all my sorrows end. In the last two lines, in the couplet, the poet addressed his friend and says that, if I think of you, my dear friend, I forget all my sorrows, all my worries ends in the glimpse of your memory. So you bring a new life to me, you bring a fresh hope for me. So whenever I think of you, my dear friend, all these sorrows or whatever I lost in my past, I overcome all these problems, all these sorrows, and I feel that all my sorrows are end. So now let us read the poem line by line and have the explanation line by line. Went to the sessions of sweet silent thought. In the first lines, the poet has used some words from the courtly life, like the word sessions and summon in the second line, cancelled in the other line. So all these words belong to the court life. So this is the use of some strange kind of words in this poem. So this is a peculiarity or a speciality of this poem. Went to the sessions of sweet silent thought. Sessions means the session of the court, but here sessions means the poet when sits in a free time. So went to the sessions of sweet silent thought, when the poet has the leisure time to sit upon and to think about the sweet memories or the past years or the past incidents of his life. I summon up. Summon up means to recall here. Summon means to recall, remembrance, memories. I summon up remembrance of things past. So the poet is recalling all the memories of his past years. I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought. So in this line the poet says that I sigh means I lament over the lack of many a thing I I think I could had or I wanted. So things the poet wanted to have in his life, he couldn't get them. So that is why he is lamenting over the loss of those things. And with old woes, new well, my dear times waste. So old woes means old sorrowful time, old sad states of his life. So he wants to say that he wants to give a new wail. New wail means to lament again, to weep again over his previous sorrows, over his previous problems, over his previous sadful moments. So he wants to wail again, he wants to weep again about his previous sorrows and his dear times waste, the time which was very dear to him, and he lost that time in useless things. So he is lamenting over the loss of that time. Then can I drown an eye unused to flow? He further says that he here in this line he permission. Then can I drown an eye? Drown an eye means to weep or to flow the tears from the eyes. So he is asking to weep for what? Lamentation, in sake of the lamentation over the misuse of the time or the past things that he couldn't have as he wanted to have them. So he wants to over that issue, and he says that I unused to flow means that his eyes never wept, or he didn't weep the way. So he is asking that if I do not weep very often, but this time I am asking that if I can weep over the state of this condition of mine, as I lost my sweet memories, sweet time. So the poet is very sad here. For precious friends hid in death's deathless night, his valuable friends, his dear friends, now no more, because they are dead now. They hid themselves in the death's deathless night, means they are no more, or the poet has lost his many dear friends. That is why he is very unhappy here. He is very sad here, or he wants to lament over that thing that he has lost his friends, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woo. And he wants to weep again over the loss of his past things or his lovely friends and his dear time, and mourn the expense of many a vanished sight. And over the passing of years, he lost many things he used to view, he used to see in the past days, in the previous days, but now he can't see those sights, those views. So he is very unhappy that he can't see the things that he used to see in the past days. So he is mourning again. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone? Again he is saying that he wants to grieve over the sorrowful state of his past days, or the sorrows of his past life, now asking him to grieve again, or to be painful again, or to be unhappy again. So all these things are coming back into the poet's mind, the things that caused him sorrow or sadness, now coming back into his memory. He is very much unhappy because he has lost many friends of his, and he has no opportunity to see the past sights, and he thinks that he has not used the time in a proper way. That is why many reasons to weep again and again and to mourn or to grieve over the past days. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, the problems, the sorrows that have already passed, the poets seeking the permission to grieve over them again, and heavily from who to tell over. Now the poet says that he can recount the problems, recount the sorrows of his life, of his past days, one by one after another or one by one. The sad account for be mourn, and the sad account of his past life is bemoaning again, he is grieving again, he is feeling very sad again over those past griefful moments, which I knew pay as if not paid before. And the way in which I am behaving now, it seems that I have never wept for those past sorrows. This is the first time that I am weeping over them, or I am feeling very sad over those past sorrows. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end. In the couplet, last two lines, the poet is thinking of his dear friend or the fair youth or the unknown friend. He says that if the while I think on thee, dear friend, addressing his dear friend, the poet says that if I think of you, if I remember you, all losses are restored, all my losses are restored again, and my sorrows and my pains and my pain end immediately. So the poet's friend brings a new life to him. The poet's friend gives a new hope of life to the poet. So he is bringing a positive aspect of life to the poet. So the poet's friend matters a lot in his life. So this poem is addressed in the name of fair youth or the dear friend of the poet. Through this poem, the poet is lamenting over the past sorrows or the past days. So we came to know that poet is very much unhappy. Why? Because he couldn't use his time in the proper manner. He thinks that he has wasted his time. Another one thing that he feels that there were a number of beautiful sights in his life, in his past days, but now he can't see them again. They are lost with the passing of time. And one more thing is that many of his near and dear friends are no more. They are dead now. That is why he can't meet them and enjoy with them. That is why the poet is very much unhappy over the passing of years, over the passing of these past days. And as soon as he thinks of his dear friend or the fair youth, all his losses are restored in a moment, and all his sorrows end immediately. So I hope that you enjoyed this poem and understood the meaning lie behind these lines. One thing that is to be added here is that the poet has used one figure of speech here in the first line, that is alliteration. You see the repetition of sh sound in sessions, sweet and silent. So here is a use of alliteration in the first line of the poem, and this is what from this side. I hope that you enjoyed this poem, and I look forward to see you again. Thank you. Have a good day.